A to the K.
To the K.
To the K.
Hello, one and all. Welcome to the A to the K Wrestling Show. We are joined today by WWE Hall of Famer, multi-time wrestling and monster truck champion, the legend, Madusa. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today.
Woo! A to the K to the M.
Whoop, whoop. Love it. Love it.
And I am the baddest bitch ever. That is my name on this damn Zoom call. So we are just sticking with that, guys.
Hell yeah.
Love it.
Then we're there. Yay.
That's it. So we'll dive right in if we could. And obviously you've got your much anticipated autobiography, The Woman Who Would Be King, the Madusa Story. And that's set for the release at the end of March next year. So I think we'd like to start, if we could, by just asking sort of how the book came about.
Yes, sir. Well, first of all, thank you. Thank you for having me. Hello. And I love the UK. I have a lot of history in the UK. Oh my gosh. And I think I will take some of it to the grave with me. A lot of good stories, guys. I don't know. I think a couple may have hit my book, and the rest will probably be for book number 2 and 3 and whatnot. So, yes, The Woman Who Would Be King. Fabulous title, I have to say.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I was the Queen of Carnage in monster trucks for 20 years. So, I mean, hey, a woman is a king of her castle, right? So,
yeah.
Why not? And so the book has been in the making for over 30 something years. And it's something I wanted to do, but do you ever get that feeling that timing is everything? Timing is absolutely everything. And so I probably wanted to publish my book about 3-4 different times, and it just wasn't the correct time. And so I'm like, okay, I got more to add. Okay, God, I got more to add. I've got more to add. And so finally, I just said, now's the time. So I got a hold of my dear friend, Paul Heyman. We've been friends over 35 years and since day one in AWA. And he wrote the foreword to my book. It is awesome. Spectacular. I'm very honored to have him. And the book deal is with a great company in Canada. So, and I have a big heart for Canada. I've rolled through those mountains and hills and land of Canada for so long, monster trucks and wrestling. And so I thought, there's just so much in my life, and I want to take a little piece of everything and bring it together, collaborate it, and have it come to fruition. So the publisher's in Canada, and hopefully I'm going to sell my book rights to Japan because I've lived over there. And so it'll be transferred over to Japanese. Whoa. And so a big heart, and I have a big history in Australia and UK and the whole Europe countries and everything over there. It's just going to be so exciting once I do my tour. There'll be set places. So right now, since I'm speaking to you guys in UK, I think we're just starting to hit the surface a little bit. And I think my first one would be I think it's the flow of wrestling or something, whatever it's called.
Oh yeah, the convention.
Yeah. So I think
we saw you this year actually at the one in Liverpool.
You did?
Yeah, we saw you.
Oh, that's sweet. And hopefully you stopped by.
Yes.
We
did.
Okay, I don't remember, so I'm honest.
Oh, to be fair, it's a very, very busy day for everyone, wasn't it? To be fair, so
I'm sure. And you know what? And that was like the first event coming right off the pandemic, so people were really, weirded out. But it was a great turnout anyway. Considering everything. But this next one will be fantastic, and that'll be my first stop for my book. And so we'll do a couple more stops throughout the whole Europe. So I'm very jacked. I'm very excited. Of course, we want other things. Of course, I'd love to have a documentary, a movie about it. My book is not a book that throws people under the bus. It's a book about motivation, perseverance. It's a book of a woman that in her time, she overcame these tragedies to triumphs in 2 very strong male-dominated entertainment sports. And the connection between those 2 companies, you guys are going to absolutely shit yourself when you read this book. I mean, they're going to be like, God, that poor woman could never get away. Oh my God. So yeah, it's pretty cool. It's not your ordinary book. I have like ADHD. I'm like from A to K to P to Z all over the place. And my book, when you read it, it's like that. And so it really keeps you engaged and it keeps you very interested. Now, hopefully you're a fan of it. I know it's a good read. I've already had I got some great blurbs from people. Mick Foley already read the book. He was one of the people I wanted to read ahead of time to give me, what he thought. And he said it was one of the most hardest and difficult book in one of the chapters or two to read, just to hear what I went through, because nobody knows. I was a person that I kept everything close to my vest, and I never put my personal life out on social media. I mean, break my leg, I don't put it out. I mean, if I, whatever, lose a baby, I don't put it out there. You know what I mean? So everything is like very inside my whole life. So when I have this diatribe of life and the book is about that thick, I mean, it is so much. How do you put 40 years of entertainment in a book? You don't. You don't. So the book is pretty amazing, and I hope you guys enjoy it. So there's that, and it is available on Amazon. It just now available, and you can get your pre-order to reserve your spot for the book. And guys, it is such an honor to tell you this, that it is a hardcover. So that's pretty cool.
Awesome.
Yeah. And there's a little special thing for this book, and I haven't announced it yet, but anyway, I would say definitely go to Amazon and get your pre-sale before. Yeah.
Oh, I've got mine.
Oh, you do already? Oh, no, you haven't.
Yeah, I do. 28th of March.
Oh, you shit me. Really?
Yeah, I've got it. Amazon, yeah. Pre-ordered.
Oh, right on. Okay, cool. All right.
Yeah.
Yes, I will. All right, gentlemen. What else? What else is going on?
So obviously, you mentioned that the foreword is by Paul Heyman, but is it true that the book's also kind of co-written with Greg Oliver, who's obviously
it is Greg? Absolutely.
Of...
Yes, it is co-written. It is co-written with Greg Oliver, and the publisher is ECW Publishing, and they're very familiar with books and wrestling books because they used to be hand in hand and did books with WWE. So they were their main, go-to and everything. So they're very highly regarded, very well respected. And Greg was a trip to work with because we are polar opposites. And I wanted to reach through the freaking computer or phone sometimes and wring his neck, and he wanted to wring mine, but not really. But this poor guy, I put him through a ringer, like, oh my gosh, like, oh my gosh, my stories, right? He's like, did that really happen? I'm like, well, fact check it, right? So, I mean, he's a fact checker maniac. And thank God, because I want everyone to feel comfortable and know that, this book is my story. It has nothing to do with anybody else. It's not about you, but it's about my life and perhaps people around me. So if you were in my life and you screwed me over, I mean, I may have changed your name, but this story's in there.
That's good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
Looking at your wrestling career, obviously you started out back in the AWA, where you had your infamous rivalry with Sherri Martel. So I just wondered if
where did I ever?
So I just wondered if we could talk a little bit about how it was working with Sherri.
Well, Sherri wasn't really a wrestler per se. She was a brawler. Sherri was a brawler, really. She wasn't that technical wrestler. You see her rolling around and, that. She was a brawler. The thing about Sherri Martel is that her psychology was on point. Like, you couldn't touch her psychology. She was so good at timing, and she knew when to be at the spot, when to, program herself to get there. And you could just see that she was more known for like management, right? In managing ballet and stuff too. But she was a hell of a character. So the only thing is that we had a love-hate relationship our whole freaking career, except for the last 10 years of our career. We became very close and good friends. And thank God, because we lost her way too early.
Yeah.
Such a shame.
Yeah, I got some good stories. There's some good ones in the book.
Oh, good. You also obviously worked with two of our favorites, obviously Curt Hennig and former guest of our show, DDP, as well. What was it like working with those two?
Well, DDP's in his own fucking world anyway. So he's his own marketing genius. It's all about DDP, always has, always will be. But I think as he got older, he's very receptive and caring for other people. Not that he wasn't, but it was just about DDP. That was it. But again, I 100% respect him. I always have, because he knew how to do it. At his age of the game, when he got into the business, was like late in his freaking 30s. Yeah, he did it.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I mean, kudos to the dude. I mean, he should definitely be proud of himself for doing that. And that would be just, pretty iconic for him just to say, hey, this is how you market yourself at late age. Oh, wait, I just sold it to him. He'll probably do that now. So. Yes. And then let's see, who else did you say? DDP and who?
Curt Hennig.
Curt Hennig. He was full of ribs, dude.
Yeah.
He was silently smiling and he'd go, you never knew what he was up to. And he was quiet. That's what was so scary. But him and I had a respect for each other. He never screwed with me. He never gave me a hard time. And there's just that level of respect. I think maybe it was the Minnesota AWA homegrown type of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just going to say that, stick to that. Yeah. Heck yes.
So obviously you mentioned earlier about Paul Heyman wrote the foreword to your book. Obviously you've alluded to sort of how close you are. So obviously thinking back to WCW and forming a dangerous alliance with Paul Heyman, I just wonder if there's any sort of memories you can sort of give us on working with Paul back in the WCW days?
Memories? Hell, I wouldn't be sitting here with you today if it wasn't for Paul Heyman, because he really gave me the opportunity and pushed for the women, if you notice. And he always had me involved. And then he had tried to build that angle between Missy and I. And I mean, it kept us alive. It kept us relevant. It kept us important. Right. Even though I'd always try to build like a women's wrestling organization, and it always it always kept failing. And it wasn't on my part, because it was a team effort and you're only as good as your team. Right. So I'm only as good as much as I practiced and showed up on time and had my gear in there and ready to go. But damn it, I'd have to be, okay and trustworthy with the ring. I'd have to be okay with my opponent. And then most of all, I'd have to be okay with the damn management system that sat behind the circle jerking freaking tables of men that wrote all those stories that weren't stories for for women. And the only one that gave two hoots or shit that was Paul, that got us involved. So of course, I mean, gosh, thank God, because who knows where I'd be.
Yeah. You know, it's awesome to know that as well, because obviously most of what we as fans get to see is Paul Heyman, the sort of character on TV. So it's great to know that he was such a sort of important.
Oh, and he loved to get in the ring and show off. And you got to admit, he took some good bumps and beatings from me.
Yeah.
Damn it. It was so good. Oh yeah. I keep telling him to this day, I owe you one ass beating.
You love it. So obviously after kind of WCW, the first stint, you obviously left to WWF, and he brought you in as Alundra Blayze. So what was your reaction to that, as opposed to bringing you in as the already established Madusa? And how serious do you think they were at the time about women's wrestling? They brought you in to kind of revive it.
Vince was very serious at that moment, because it stayed dormant for a while. So he wanted to revive the women's wrestling. But he wanted, at that point, he wanted a woman that could wrestle, that would change the game. He basically told me he wanted somebody very athletic, that looked, athletic, and that was athletic and could carry her own and the company itself. So if it wasn't for Greg Valentine calling, what's his name, Pat Patterson, and saying, hey, Pat, I got a girl. If she's on the independent scene, I've seen her. You've got to check her out. She's freaking phenomenal. She just came back from Japan and she's ready to kick some ass. She'll blow, 60% of the guys' matches out of the water. Right. So, and he's like, Patterson. He's like, okay, you think she's all that? Okay, let's check her out. So sure enough, they did their diligence, and we spoke on the phone. They flew me out, and then it was a perfect marriage. And, Vince was always good to me. Vince was never that person that you have heard lately of, misogynist acts or lascivious ways or anything like that. He was a man that told me that I was there to uphold and, carry the women's division and be the face. So that's what I believed in. That's what I did. And I was holy hell on wheels. And that's what we did. We tried. And there wasn't much of a roster. My roster was me. We don't have a roster of 75 women like they do today. And, women making 5.8 million in one contract, another 2.3. I mean, give me what? I didn't even make 6 figures.
Yeah.
Where's that pyramid theme? Pay it forward, girls. Come on. But anyway, shit. Right. So, it took this long since 2021, I believe, to make, have the woman finally make $1 million under contract. That's BS. Yeah. That's bullshit. But it's happening now. So it only took, 50, 60 years.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That is insane to think.
Very, very crazy. Very crazy. But so when that went, sour, I was always a Vince girl, as far as business.
Yeah.
And I knew that it wasn't deliberate. I knew it wasn't deliberate. I was getting ready to go to the town, get my bags packed, getting ready to leave. And FedEx came to my door and handed me a FedEx. And thank God I opened it. And it was a letter. And I'm like, dear Deborah, we will no longer be needing your services in the WWE. I was like, what? What the hell? What? This is a rib, right? This is a joke. Nope. Call the office. That's what it was. Just let me go. I was still their champion. He wasn't thinking right, because Vince, I'm sorry. Even back then, Vince would never let their champion go. He wasn't in his right mind. And when I say that is because I knew it wasn't hurtful or deliberate. I think he was grasping, saying, how do we do this? How do we save money? What do we got to do? We got to do it quick. And boom, he did it. Meaning he was going through the steroid scandal then, which was huge. He was going through the IRS scandal and all the, personal crap and, affair shit. And that, they needed to downsize because their doors almost closed right then. And he didn't know what to do. So he just got rid of the women. Like, I wasn't being paid shit anyway. He should have cut half the men's roster, is what he should have done, and kept the women alive. Yeah. But okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously, it goes down in history as one of the most insane things he's done, really. Like you say, sort of releasing your existing champions. Insane.
I mean,
obviously,
again, when you hear stories like that, which people really don't know, and it's explained in my book better, but it's just, who does that? You don't do that. Yeah. That's why you got to say that was not deliberate. It was a matter of a man desperate.
Yeah.
I don't care. Maybe it wasn't, but I'm going to believe that because I hurt my feelings. Damn straight. Oh, so good. Oh.
So obviously, we mentioned the fact that, they did, release you and stuff like that, and obviously become synonymous now with your career, the whole belt in the trash can incident and stuff like that. Do you think, has that taken away, do you think, from kind of your other incredible accomplishments in the ring that, sometimes it's remembered more so for things like that as opposed to the phenomenal matches that you actually put on?
Well, I think and I think what the problem is today, there are certain women and men that do their diligence and look at history and find out who people were about and what they did and their accomplishments, so they can watch their matches, maybe take a move or two and learn and, whatever. Right. I think that what do you say? I think people learn from the past as well. And I don't think kids are really doing that. Really? You know what I mean? So if they were to say, okay, so, all right, let me break this up. Okay. Give me your question again. Give me your question. So you said,
So obviously just around like, obviously you're remembered a lot for like throwing the belt in the trash can and stuff like that. And it's like, that's what you tend to be remembered for, as opposed to like, the incredible
yeah,
stuff
stop
you did.
there. Yep, there was that, and there was something else you said. Okay, so it's not that, I mean, that was a pretty iconic moment, right?
Oh yeah.
But I think that it as again, so let's just put the trash can moment here. I think if people were to go back in history and look, that my pretty iconic moments were, because was my hour match with Asuka. I mean, people don't even know that in Japan, right?
Mhm.
I mean, and then I had this unbelievable street fight that was real, and then I had a boxing fight that was real, that was bloody and dangerous, and I mean, it was crazy. I mean, those are some pinnacle points of someone's career that nobody talks about over here.
It's crazy.
All they can remember, and back to your title in the trash, is that iconic moment, because it changed the trajectory once again for wrestling, and it started the Monday Night War. As far as I'm concerned, that started the Monday Night War. That started everybody, every man, to make money but myself again. They made so much money at that starting point of that title trashing, millions of dollars, and I didn't even see 1% of it. Nothing. It's bullshit.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
And it is what it is. You can't sit here and wallow and live in the past, whatever. But I sure in the hell can talk about it. It was bullshit.
Oh yeah.
Those guys lined their pockets. They had lives $1 million. They're still living in $1 million homes for that big. I mean, it's just crazy. Yeah. I just it pissed me off back then. And so, as a person and as a woman, knowing that I'm always going to be hitting a fucking brick wall with these men, what do? You play the game and you outsmart them in your own way. And so the most important thing to me, which I see so many women that lost in the past in this business, is keeping your integrity intact. And my integrity was never for sale. Period.
Yeah.
No, sir. And let me tell you, I had a lot of come to Jesus talks with myself, or whatever our God spiritual freaking thing is. I had a lot of talks to myself saying, what the hell are you doing? Oh, keep going though, because you've already come this far. You better keep your ass moving, because you're here for a reason. You've already hit the pinnacle of your career 3, 4, 5 times, which no one usually does. And you are setting a precedence, my dear. So those are my talks to myself. And how I found that deep inside through all of the turmoil, I don't know, dude. And how I kept it all in until this poor book is just a freaking, whew.
Yeah, I can't wait to read it. I genuinely can't wait to just, the stuff, like, as you said before, like the amount of stuff you kept in, and it's going to be insane to read from your obviously perspective.
There's going to be a lot of surprising moments for people, definitely. Now, keep in mind too, it's a book of 40 years of entertainment, and so I'm trying to tell these stories in my life and personal life, and overcoming and tragedy, triumphs, and whatnot, and trying to make it all make sense, which it is so beautifully done. That was the beauty of Greg, is when writing my story and him making it make sense. So because it's all over the place, and so much to say that we had to keep half of it out. So of course there's going to be a book following, absolutely, because it's only going to make sense. So it'll be kind of like a Chris Jericho moment where he just picks a chapter and write a book about that chapter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What it's going to have to be done, because Japan alone is another book.
Yeah.
I mean, you just can't put it all in one.
No, definitely not. So we saw you recently in AEW presenting the Women's Tag Cup, and of course you work with NWA behind the scenes as well. So just wondered, do you get a chance to watch much of the current product, and do you have any thoughts?
Oh yeah, damn straight I do. Today? Yes, I do. Yes, I do, and I bite my lip a lot. So I revamped my own podcast. So I have a segment on there called Trash Talk, and we're just starting that. Yeah. So it's going to be like a dump of what I see and how I see it, not trashing people, but, just like, well, God damn, that was stupid, or, stuff like that. Or I would have, maybe I would have, but, and I don't pull back much. I mean, I let it go. And just my vision, like there was I think we already recorded it. I don't know when it's coming out, but there was a version on there where Ronda Rousey came out and said, "I'm taking the name women's out of the title." And I'm like, well, what the fuck for? I mean, so we just call it the title. Intercontinental is for men's, and okay, I get what she's saying, right?
Yeah.
But then if we just have SmackDown, does that mean then it's for men and women? Is it an intergender now? I'm confused. So,
yeah.
But I understand what she's trying to say. However, I still think that we're, I don't know.
No, we've had similar thoughts over the Ronda's comments, because like you say, I think the spirit is right, but it's not so much about what you call the title. It's about the respect that the industry gives that title. And that's
for the women, because we're still fighting that. Yeah, we're still fighting for that. We're not there yet. Maybe in the near future, absolutely, but a timing, no, I don't think so. I don't think it's right timing right now.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. That's just me.
No, it's great. It's as you said, you don't hold anything back, and you keep your integrity, and you're going to be truthful and tell it as it is. So it's refreshing. Obviously, we're really curious around, you were inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame after that kind of, I don't know how you'd even describe it, being kind of blacklisted by WWE for so long.
I never thought it would happen, and I never thought twice about it. And when I was at a driver's meeting for Monster Trucks, because we have driver meetings to go over things and mechanics and blah, 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 blah. And I was sitting there and I kept getting a text saying, "This was WWE. Can you please respond?" And I'm thinking, oh God, a fan got my damn phone number. Here we go. And so when Mark Carano finally got a hold of me, and I'm like, "Are you serious?" And he goes, "Yeah, we think this is awesome. We really think this is wonderful. Would you be interested in being inducted into the Hall of Fame?" And my first words were, "Does Vince know?" Because it's been 20, some years. And I'm like, God, he didn't want me around. And no. But let me tell you, when that happened, I just, way back when, I just didn't think twice. I never turned on TV. I never watched wrestling for 20 years after that. When they dropped my ass and then I went into WCW, and once I retired, I never turned on wrestling again. Never thought about it twice.
No.
I was good to wrestling. Wrestling wasn't good to
me. Yeah. It's accurate. It's a little sad in a way, isn't it, given how much you give to the business? But I take your points on that.
Simple. Yeah. There's a lot of bullshit. Yeah, there was. Yeah. But don't get me wrong. I had a lot of good times, but I made my good times again because I made it what I needed it to be because of all the crap, and it's unfortunate. We just got to remember, it's not a downer. It's just, that was the time. That was the era, time of era and bullshit and, just, ridicule and make women look cheap and small and abuse them and just use them as enhancements, and they're just a bunch of TNA. That was my era. Era.
Wow.
Yes, read the book.
It's insane.
Gonna be read the book. But so I'm really excited about everything. WWE Hall of Fame, it's an honor. It is not the same as it was before. I was very scared when I got the call because I didn't know what to accept. I didn't know how the kids were going to be. I didn't know if they were going to accept me, and it blew me away how well-mannered, well-rounded, accepting, and it was the best time of wrestling that I ever had.
Yeah.
It was great. Yeah.
Obviously, I was going to say, not just content with winning titles in the wrestling world, you'd only, go on to absolutely dominate the monster truck world as well.
Oh, so I sure did. I beat the shit out of Dennis Anderson at the World Finals in racing. And boy, you couldn't have written that even a better way. That was not planned. And that's when racing was real. I mean, it wasn't like a dog and pony show and a circus show like it is now. Everything is regulated. It's just bullshit. Nothing's real about it. It's all just like wrestling. And back then when we had the USHRA and then just all of the fighting for racing, and just it was a badass. And so, Dennis Anderson trained me, and he's the god of monster trucks, really. I mean, there's Bigfoot as well, which, that they basically are the footprint of monster trucks, and Dennis Anderson is right along there with them. So when I was asked to be a part of that, I mean, I was flown in and trained with Dennis Anderson, and fast forward all the way to the world finals at the racing championships. It was something you could not have even planned. You couldn't have. It was Chevy against Ford. I'm a Ford girl. Chevy against Ford, man against woman, teacher against student. And I beat his ass. It was unbelievable. Unbelievable. It was so great.
That's awesome.
It was so
incredible. Yeah.
Possibly controversial question, but we have to ask: Bigfoot or Gravedigger? Do you have a preference?
Big what?
Bigfoot or Gravedigger? Do you have a preference?
Big photo?
Bigfoot. Sorry, that's just my Liverpool.
Oh, Bigfoot. I'm sorry, the accent. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I get it all the time.
Bigfoot. Such an accent. I love it. Bigfoot or Gravedigger. So they both are totally amazing and awesome, and they are different. Bigfoot is more commercial. They don't take the risks. They're not hard on their stuff, and they're there for show, basically. And they gave me the opportunity to drive one of their trucks for 2 years, and I did. So I can say I did, and it was the most iconic moment. And then the whole Monster Jam, racing against Gravedigger and all of that. I mean, it's totally different. So when I compare the two between Bigfoot and Gravedigger, I know damn well, like, Dan Runty was the driver of Bigfoot, and he was badass. And I know Dan Runty and Dennis Anderson would put on the best show ever if they ever raced against each other.
Love it. So you briefly touched on it before. So obviously we know how busy you are. This is probably one of our last questions, but
okay.
So the UK, obviously you're going to come back over here in Manchester next year.
I hope for the love of wrestling or flow of wrestling or whatever. Yeah, I hope that comes to fruition, guys.
But obviously you
when
kind of
is
touched
that?
on
April or something?
It's April 28th and 29th, I think it is, or 29th and 30th next year. Yeah, so it's in Manchester this time. Obviously you came to Liverpool when we saw you, but I'm just curious. You mentioned you've had a lot of fun times over here in the UK. Anything you can tell us in terms of memories that stand out?
Well, one is really funny. I was going over to the UWA the wrestling, Soraya's wrestling.
Oh, is it WAW, the one in Norwich?
Yeah, and I was going over there, and I didn't even get over there, and I was already hard weighed bleeding by the limo freaking trunk door, and it was just what a spectacle thing that was. So. They were picking me up, and I was supposed to go over there to give like a seminar and work with Soraya and whatever, and talk to the kids and blah, blah, blah. And another independent promoter brought me over. And so this car came and picked me up, and they just pulled up, and then the driver got out and he opened up the trunk, and I'm like, he's just standing there, and I'm like, well, fuck it, I'll just throw my shit in. And so I picked up my stuff and threw it in, and he went to shut the door right on my head and hard-weighed me. And I didn't even get that. Welcome to UK. I looked at him. I said, "You're a fucking idiot." What the hell? I got this blood coming down, and it was the biggest pop ever. I wasn't mad. I was laughing so hard. I'm like, only in wrestling. These stories never quit.
I love that. Just rock up to the seminar.
Yes, yeah. I was like, oh my God, the big old noggin. And I'm like, sorry, I was like, what the hell? It's a long story. Oh my God.
Love it.
We were wrestling in the limo. Thank you guys. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it so much. And it's such a great way to kick off my interviews that I'm starting here for course, for the book. Again, if you guys haven't got it, go to Amazon.com. There's a link I think you'll put in there where it goes directly to the book.
We'll put the link in, definitely. But no, thank you very much for being with us today. I suppose the last thing we need to ask you is just if you could let sort of our audience know how they can keep up to date with your good self and everything you've got going on.
Well, I guess the best way to keep up to date with me is just follow me on social media. It's Madusa, MADUSA, everything. So you can't miss it, and everything, blue check marks everywhere that I haven't paid for yet. So, but anyway, I do have Twitter Blue, and I did pay for Twitter Blue before Elon Musk was there because I liked all the little things that you could get with it. So to me, it's like, I already paid a couple extra bucks because I wanted to change the color of my typing. I'm such a girl, and I wanted to add little things. I'm like, oh, this is so cute. I can pay $4 a month. So anyway, there's that. But yeah. Anyway, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys, and hopefully I'll see you in April. If not, you got to let them know. You got to bring her back.
Oh
definitely. Yeah.
We'll be sure of it. Thank you so much. Can't wait to read the book. You will. Yeah, definitely.
Yes. Guys, I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you. You too. Take care.
Again.
All right. Take care.